Hey guys, and welcome to episode 4 of HTKTT, or hashtag Kitchen Table Talk. I again am Lord Thompson. We will introduce the familiar faces.
I'm NSH.
I'm Joyce.
Soler.
And we have a guest joining us. This is the lovely
Raji.
Cool. Alright, so Raji is going to tell us a story, and then we are going to talk about that. Do you want to start?
Yeah, so today's about arranged marriages, about my personal experience. I really don't know how to start.
Start where feels right for you.
Okay, so it's expectations, family expectations and standards. Growing up as a kid, very sheltered life, wasn't allowed out, my friends weren't allowed round, but I was the apple of my dad's eye. Anything that I wanted, looked at, touched, I got it, it wasn't an issue. So I spent all my life growing up to the age of 16, 17, knowing that my dad worshipped the ground that I walked on. So you would never think that you would ever get put into a situation where your parents would put you at risk or jeopardise you. You know, I wasn't allowed boyfriends, you know, I wasn't allowed my friends to come around and socialise with me just in case. My upbringing was infected as such. So I turned 17, 18, and it was, sorry about this.
Live TV people.
Can't take me anywhere.
So no, didn't want to get infected, no boyfriends, etc.
Yeah, so at the age of 17, it was a conversation with my father, my mother and my brothers that, you know, the time would come, you know, you're going to get married, and do you want to get married? And obviously growing up in that kind of society and not knowing anything different, it's just a human reaction as an Indian Punjabi girl that's brought up with such morals to accept what your parents are saying, and if you say no, you know, you can almost be pushed out or made to feel like you're not a good Indian or not a good Asian heritage background, or, you know, not stereotyping anybody here. So with me, I think one of the reasons why I said yes is because I wanted to get the hell out of the house. I wanted to be me. And I always knew living in the household, I was different. You know, I wasn't a typical Indian girl. Bit of a nutter, not that you believe it.
I do.
They're supposed to be my friends. So yeah, it was, I didn't know what I was doing, you know, I did it because it was expected, and I wanted to get out of the house, and I wanted to be free, I wanted to be around my friends, you know, I wanted to wear what I wanted to wear, cut my hair and wear makeup and do all the things that girls should do. So it happened like a gunshot, just like that. I'll never forget it, you know, I'll never forget the day that my parents said we're going to go up to Leicester to go and see family. Went to my aunt's house, sat there, and there was a guy sitting in the room, and me, obviously you guys know me, I'm a very bubbly person, I'll talk to the wall if I have to. Don't get me, yeah. I've got to talk to Frank about that. But yeah, it was, I'll talk to anybody, and I spoke to him, and he was alright. I didn't really know the difference between good looking and, you know, ugly men at that time, because I weren't really into that. I was a virgin, you know, I was 17, 18, and I never really knew about fancying boys or anything like that. So on the drive home, I remember my mum said to me, what do you think of him? And me being naive, I was like, yeah, he's nice. Not realising what I was setting myself up for.
Yeah, but yeah, he's nice, and that's your future husband.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, see you later, bye, get married, see you. So yeah, it literally happened in a gunshot, you know, it's like, yeah, he's nice. And then within a week or so, they've come down from Leicester, we're getting engaged, and I'm just like a rabbit in the headlights, you know, and it's just, whoa, this is happening. Before I knew it, wedding plans were happening, parents spent a ridiculous amount of money on my wedding. I'm convinced that's the reason to this day that my dad doesn't talk to me, because he wasted his money. Should have saved your money and put me in a registry office, Dad. But yeah, it was really scary. That's the only way that I can describe it, you know, because it's going from an upbringing of being an apple of my dad's eye, and then my dad sheltering me as a kid and not allowed boyfriends, and, you know, sex was a bad thing unless you was married, and you only have sex to have kids, and so I was very naive, and this is all I knew. Got married. The day went like a gunshot. Complete gunshot. I think there's still people that know me don't even realise that I had an arranged marriage. People just think I ran away because I was a nutcase. I'm a nutcase.
That's it, get it right.
Crap yeah, and it was just, in a nutshell, he was violent, he beat me up, he took all the dowry, the gold, and everything, and he said to me that, you know, you're my wife. I can't exactly say, I can't swear, because it's not very nice to put this online, but you're my wife and I will do whatever that I please with you. And me being a tomboy, didn't quite
go so well.
Yeah, it didn't really go down very well. And I was scared. I was scared of sex. I didn't know what I was doing. And I said to him, I'm not going to sleep with you. I think the violence got worse and I tried to ring home, but it was one of them ones where in certain Asian cultures, they say that your biological parents are not your real parents, your in-laws will be your real parents. When girls are born in Asian communities, families send condolences, but when boys are born, you have the biggest party you could ever think of. It's just how society is. I'm really sorry you had a daughter. Wow. It's crazy. So even from then, like I left my husband. I run away. In a nutshell, I know there's a lot of people out there that are going to watch this, that know me, know my family. Yeah, I run away, and you know what? It's the best thing I ever did, because it was scary. Gosh, it was so scary coming from such a rich family and having everything that you can have. And then going to a marriage where you ain't got a freaking foggy what you're doing, and then you go from, oh my god, this, you know, I need to get out of here, this isn't right. And I couldn't handle the fact that this guy that I had to spend the rest of my life with beat the crap out of me, you know. And I was so scared, and I just ran for the hills. I remember the morning that I did it, I packed one carrier bag, I put a night suit in there and a change of clothes, my toothbrush, pair of shoes, and a bottle of Izzy Mayaki. it was the rage back then.
It was the rage.
I even had Tommy go actually. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, but I left that on the can. I really wish I would have. So yeah, it was. I ran. I moved to London. I've come to Harlesden. My family were looking for me. I knew for a fact when my family found me they were going to send me back to him. There's so many things, you know, little things that have happened in between that. But I think in a nutshell, I find it so confusing how someone can love you so much. I'm talking about my mother and my father. I think mostly my father, that they can love you so much and protect you from so much, and then have the audacity to give you to a stranger. Literally give you to a stranger, you know? And it's like, it's completely changed my view on men. Now, as a 35-year-old woman, I've learned to trust people. I know that I had to trust
them. Must have been hard.
Yeah, it did, you know, and I know a lot of people out there are probably still in denial about it, but it does affect it does affect people, you know, it affects people in different ways, and you don't realise it maybe until you become older. Like, I spent a lot of years hating my dad. Hate's a very strong word, and now I still love him. He's not the greatest person in my life. He doesn't even know who I am as a woman. He doesn't know my personality. He doesn't know what I do for a living. But they still think they've got the right to judge me as a person.
So from that whole experience, what is your view on arranged marriage itself?
Kill it, get rid of it, eradicate it.
Can I ask a question though? Do you think you would feel differently? Because did your parents have an arranged marriage?
Yeah.
So it clearly worked for them.
Yeah.
But then,
so do you think you'd feel differently if it had worked?
If it had gone well, do you think you'd feel differently? Do you think you just feel so strongly about it because of your particular situation?
Maybe so, because my personality was different. Because I never really had Asian friends growing up. All my friends were white, from Dominica. So my upbringing was like a little bit different, you know. Like my neighbours, the only person that was allowed in my house was Kim, and that's only because she looked like a little bit Asian and she was Mexican. Half the time my mum was picturing Punjabi and Kim was like, yeah. Sorted. But I don't know, do you know what? I think maybe so, yes. My brother had an arranged marriage and he's got a wonderful wife, 2 beautiful kids. You know, it can work, but I think in that generation of my brother and backwards, it can work. But I think when when you come to a certain age gap and you're putting kids into a different society of education and around people and things are changing, you know, in the 80s things were changing a lot, you know, there was a lot of racism and...
So, do you think it's more, not the institution itself, but it's taking people away from that institution and bringing them into, say, London, which is very multicultural, and then do you think it just doesn't work necessarily here? Rather than...
So you mean like trying to impose
the old,
here,
old school into somewhere...
Not everyone's doing it.
Yeah.
Well, this is my personal opinion. If my dad wanted me to have an arranged marriage, why did you not send me to India to live a life of how you wanted me to be so I wouldn't know any different? Why did you put me into a school and a community that was just white people? Why did you do that? Because you knew in the back of your mind that it's going to affect, or did you not know that it was going to affect?
But maybe he didn't, maybe because you said your dad absolutely loved you, he adored you, maybe he just wanted what was best for you, so he picked the best school. He wasn't thinking, how are the kids in this school who live such a different life to you going to colour your view? Do you see what I mean? Maybe he was just thinking, that school's got the best of everything, that's where I'm sending them because I want my daughter to have the best. He adored you. And obviously he had his arranged marriage and everything's fine.
Yeah.
And so for him, he may not necessarily see it as a bad thing, you know.
Because
so
if
it's not
that's
necessarily
what he knows and what he's been used to, and if his parents were happy and he was happy,
then why would you not?
Then he would assume that you would be happy.
Don't get me wrong. However, he's acted after it's all fallen apart. I can't speak to that. I don't know how that's gone on, but I'm just thinking from the beginning, from the way it sounds, he probably then genuinely thought what he was doing was right, and it was
yeah,
good.
because
Do you know what I mean?
it's his mindset and it's his mind frame, you know. It's just it's how it goes, but it's not always the same, you know. My brother was allowed girlfriends.
But that's in every culture. My brother was allowed to do stuff and I'd sit at home and do nothing. My brother's 2.5 years younger than me.
Do you think that communication actually, let me just ask you, how much do you think communication played a role in what happened with you? Do you feel like it would have worked out differently if there was more, or do you think there's an inherently problem?
But between who?
Well, you know what, I'll be completely honest with you. My parents, my dad and my brother sat me down and they were like, "Are you sure about this? Are you sure you want to get married?"
And what did you say?
And I said yes. Because
that's what she's known.
Because my respect and my fear of not pleasing my father was more important to me. Now, as a woman who's lived in East London for 15 years, you know, and I'm not a typical, I'm covered in tattoos and I'm sitting around different people.
I have a question. So if you said that your respect for your father and your upbringing led you to that decision,
it was fear as well.
At which point in time did that decision change? When did that shift happen? What incident, or was it just something within you? What made that shift occur for you to say, no, I'm leaving?
When my husband beat the crap out of me because I wouldn't sleep with him and I wouldn't lose my virginity to him. And I rang home and I told my sister-in-law that I wasn't happy, and I basically got told that I have to suck it up and get on with it. So for someone that can put you on a pedestal and give you everything you want, and your own brothers and your own father won't come and save you. Sorry, this is a bit weird for me to talk about this.
No, it's so cool.
Yeah, it's the reality of it really, and you know what, it comes down to generation don't believe in love back then, you know. My dad got married at 17. The first day that he met my mum was the day that he got married. So it weren't about love. You know, a lot of people get it twisted and they think, oh yeah, Indians, they wrote the Kama Sutra and everything, everyone can have sex, like, you know, anyone can write a book on sex, like, you see what I'm writing. But it's not, it's lack of love. It's lack of love, you know. My dad never respected my mum. I grew up in a house, lack of respect for women. The man is the man and the woman is the woman. My education, as far as my dad was concerned, I wasn't going to college. That's not what you're going to college for. I had to cook the roti in the kitchen.
Is it... No, I'm just going to ask a question. Is it a lack of respect, or is it just... that's what he knows?
I think it's a bit of both. I think it is a bit of both, because I think Sikh communities are becoming a bit more relaxed with it now, you know, and its generations are changing. Like my cousins that are my age, they've all had love marriages, but they're all male, you know. But if a girl was to do that, she'd be classed as a slut. So it's a fine line between it. You know, like now parents are becoming a bit more open to it because they don't want their kids to run away, you know, because it's happened so much. They don't want that shame of, you know, my daughter ran away and she ran away with, you know, an Englishman or a blackman, and it's like, oh, I'm really sorry, it's the shame. But now I think parents are starting to realise that these kids fall in love, man. That's what life's about. Love one another. That's all it comes down to. Simple as. And still to this day, I believe it, and I'm sorry to say, I don't think my father will ever be happy for me when it comes to relationships.
If your parents had waited for you to be an adult and then were just involved in you choosing your partner, would you accept that sort of arranged marriage? Would you consider that an arranged marriage?
Nah. Yeah.
So if they gave you...
But for her parents, I think that was the case. She was of age, she was an adult, she was...
Oh, they saw her as because she was 17, they saw her as...
My mum got married at 16.
Oh,
so I was a year out compared to my mum.
Oh, fair enough.
And her mum did ask her,
yeah,
like, what do you think? And obviously her and her naivety was like, yeah, he's great.
Very
But
nice.
yeah, he's great and I want to marry him and live with him for the rest of my life. Maybe we've got our wires crossed, you know? Like, that's not the same thing.
I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what marriage was, you know? I didn't know what having sex was. Like, it was all, you know, completely new to me. And it was like, you know, you're born a woman, you're raised to a certain age, and then you're given to your in-laws, and then you have kids, and you do what you're told. Nah. Not happening with me.
So then my question is, is it age that would be the factor? Like, if you were older and it turned out to be a nice arranged marriage, would you still be against arranged marriages?
Yeah.
Can you speak to that though? It's not.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
can I pose a question? If you had a daughter and she wanted to have an arranged marriage, would you let her?
I think being the type of people that we are, I think now, if my daughter wanted an arranged marriage, I would want her to go and find her soul partner first. I'm going to vet him. I'm going to vet him like no one's ever vet him before.
So it will be arranged.
Yeah. If he ain't good, I'm going to arrange his burial. Like, I would let my kids do whatever makes them happy, you know, but I think the way that I would raise my children, I would teach them how to be free. And I would want them to do what makes them happy, you know, and that's all that matters. But I think, hopefully, the way that I raise my kids, they would know the difference of like arrange and I think that would be long gone by the time I have kids. I don't think it would really matter to me. Even if my child comes to me and said I'm gay, I'd be like, ah, wicked, we're going shopping. It wouldn't really. I don't know, you can't really speak about it unless you've been in that situation, I think.
Do you know other people that have been in similar situations?
Yeah, my brother had an arranged marriage, like, my cousins have had arranged marriages.
And they had bad experiences?
Yeah, my brother's been married twice. So he had an arranged marriage, the girl was from England, you know, and she left him 2 years later, no kids, they were sleeping in their bed, not having sex, and I think I still keep in contact with her. And she left him.
Do you know why that was?
Because he beat her up. Straight, slapped her in front of me.
Did you ever ask him why he does that?
For me in my house it was normal because I grew up with my dad beating my mum up all the time, so for us, the way we were brought up, it's, you know,
It's what happened.
it's what happens.
That's
So that's been your norm. So why did you not do what, from what I'm hearing, the other people in your family situation did do? Why did
receive
you?
it?
Because my soul didn't sit right with myself.
No, but they received it, and they didn't do anything.
No, it's different, but I'm saying it'd be different when she receives it herself. You've watched it happen to your mum, which could never have been. I don't think you could ever say you were like yay about it.
I've spent
do you know
my
what I
six,
mean?
I spent 6 weeks of my summer holidays in the Women's Institute, and for me, like, it was just what it was, you know. So you don't know no difference. You just do what you're told, you know. So my cousins in India, still to this day, they have arranged marriages and they're all happy and they do whatever they want to do. But I think with me, I always knew as a kid I was different. I always knew I wasn't that typical Indian girl. I knew it. I just knew something in my heart sat like that.
Alright.
It's very strong.
Well, we want to thank Raj for telling her story.
Yeah.
Thank you, Raj.
Thank you.
Thanks,